No matter what you're building, you shouldn't have to worry about how fast you can cover your roof. Zip System Roof Assembly is an easy-to-install panel and tape system that helps quickly achieve rough dry-in, eliminating the need for felt. Whether you're adapting to schedules, codes, or weather, our products keep your roof all zipped up. Watch easy installation tips to protect roofs during and after construction at zipsystem.com.
You make decisions every day, but on PrizePicks, being right can get you paid. We're a month into the football season, and guys like rookie tight end Tyler Warren are taking the league by storm. Every week, I hop into my PrizePicks app to check his projections to see his upcoming matchup. It's incredibly easy and fun. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code DFS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code DFS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. It's good to be right.
Welcome to the Fantasy Footballers DFS and Betting Podcast with your hosts, Kyle Borganoni and Matthew Betz.
Welcome in! Tuesday, October 21st here. Fantasy Footballers DFS and Betting Podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Borganoni, and I am joined, as always, by Matthew, one of the original bad boys Betz.
I mean, come on, Kyle. You know how it is. Dude, what a fun week of football that was. Unbelievable, slate of games. The Eagles just got Brandon Graham back. They won a game. Carson Wentz didn't beat us. It's all coming together.
He looked
It's all coming together. It's so funny, man, how NFL fandom and teams are so reactionary, where it's 2 weeks ago the sky was falling, and now we're like, Jalen Hurts, downfield passing, we can throw. So it's funny, man. But yeah, I am a bad boy, as they say.
You're one of the original bad boys. I mean, that's why Monica married you.
Yeah, that's what was attracting her to me. We were talking before we started recording, and it was funny that. Okay, I'll just share the story. So this was when the Twins were just barely won. Okay, and we went out to California to visit Monica's brother. So just imagine flying with 1-year-old twins. Okay, so it's across the country. Stress levels were through the roof.
So you were looking real cool with all your baby gear.
I mean, we had everything, right? You had the car seats, you had double stroller, it was like a workout just to even get through the airport. We get there, we spend the whole week, it's great, fun time, everything went really well. On the flight home, we were delayed coming out of LA. We missed our connection, I believe it was in Chicago. We missed our connection, so we're delayed leaving Chicago. But when we land in Newark, New Jersey, which, if you've ever been to Newark Airport...
What an airport.
The literal worst airport in the world. I'm running off of the tarmac to try to make sure that we catch our bags, because it's literally 1 a.m., okay, and we have 1-year-olds. When I'm running, I run past the attendant. I don't even know what they would be called. It's not the stewardess or the pilot. It's whoever lets you off to open the door and open the thing to the airport. Apparently, it's illegal to open that on your own, but I was running past her holding one of the twins, and I said, "Can I go?" And the woman looks at me and mumbles something under her breath. I couldn't really hear it. I didn't really know what she said, but I just kept running, and I turned back one more time, and I said, "Am I good?" And she just smiled. So I think, okay, I'm in the clear. I'm sprinting with this 1-year-old kid in my hand. It's 1 a.m, Kyle. Everybody is delusional, exhausted. Who knows where our bags are? When I open the door, alarms go off like crazy. She sprints after me, and all of a sudden, within 3 seconds, there's a police officer, this woman behind me. It's a whole thing. And my wife just walks up behind me because she was getting all the bags off of, overhead bins and stuff, the carry-ons. And she just looks by and she goes, "What did you do?" And that's when, she knew she had a bad boy in her hands, Kyle. But yeah, I've never actually shared that story with you. And then, to get this, we didn't even have our bags when we got there. So we had nothing when we landed except for carry-on, which is all the baby crap, and car seats. So we end up renting a car at 2:30 in the morning, driving 3.5 hours back to where we were living at the time, near State College, and getting home at 4 in the morning with 1-year-old twins. And one of my daughters screamed the entire drive home. It was one of those trips where when you get home, sometimes after a terrible experience, and you just say, I'm never leaving my house again. And
you're like, why would we go on vacations? I will never fly again with these girls.
And since then,
but yeah,
we don't go anywhere.
I love that you just did what you wanted to do as a true alpha male with running with a baby, saying, I'm going to just, go for it. And if I get arrested, I get arrested. If I get taken away from my kids, that's fine. You understand that that's part of your future as somebody who plays DFS, that you have to tell your spouse every single week, hey, honey, didn't go as well as planned. But I did win a few bucks in cash.
I mean, she knows that, though. It's part of the lifestyle. Running through the airport, getting arrested, losing in tournaments. Yeah, it's what we do. It's a bad boy lifestyle.
So you joined this for the lifestyle branding that it is.
That's right. For the experience.
Well, I hope that you had a good week in DFS. We're going to get to celebrate with some listeners in just a second. Really, really fun slate. And yet, the chalk every single week says, hey, you want some more? Eat it. Eat it over and over and over again. So we'll talk about the slate. We'll give you some pointers, and then we will look forward to the next week. I feel like I want to get this right. Week 8, which is wild to say. Like every single week, I'm like, we're already here. We're already at this point. We also, in this episode, will do a little near mid-season review of some win total stuff, some awards. So Betz and I like to get to a certain point in the season and identify some inefficiencies in MVP, Offensive Player of the Year, Rookie of the Year, and then also we will give an official on a divisional and a win totals one that we feel very strong. We think that in a week or so this will move. I mean, that's what the people are here. Once we, lay down a couple of G's, the entire Discord.
Moving the lines.
I mean, this thing's going to be gone. This line's not even going to be there.
Do you want to discuss the win total that we gave out 2 years ago, I think it was? And you were like, Betz, I feel incredible about this.
Was it the Saints one?
Saints. I think they won one game like the rest of the year.
They were one game short of doing it. I was like, oh man, look at this schedule. I even told Jason, because I was still living in Arizona at the time, I go, Jason, look at this schedule. I laid it out in front of him. I was like, dude, they only have to win, I think, like 2 more games the rest of the way.
But they did not win 2 more games.
They did not. And Jason definitely did not bet it that day.
Good.
Yeah, no, it was good that somebody in our company had a level head. It wasn't me. But anyway, we are glad you're with us. Let's rewind.
Weekly Rewind.
All right, let's talk about week 7 and the cash slate, because there's a couple of very, very obvious plays that you and your grandmother, who also has her DK account active because she loves the DK crowns, everybody was going to play Rashee Rice, and he absolutely smashed. Betz, did you see that he was targeted on 53% of his routes?
I mean, I was searching frantically on every book. Because you know how, like, in the Super Bowl and stuff, they have these weird, obscure props, like, to catch a pass on the first drive or your stuff like that? That was about to be, like, the play of the year. Like, there's no way they weren't coming into this game to establish Rashee Rice and just, like, get things going. So, yeah, that targets per route run looks quite good here. He only ran, 19 routes in this game?
Yep. I'm going to be doing a film review of the Chiefs because, as much as I love it, the flag football offense that they run frustrates me when I think about what other defenses, like the way that they attack it. It frustrates me.
Yeah, but I feel like...
I'm not saying it's not good. It's just like I look at what's going on, and a lot of the routes are very quick. Mahomes gets to be Mahomes. He's awesome. He's a generational player. But it's flag football style.
I mean, you have the speed to do it, and the run game is... It actually looked decent. Better. I won't say decent. Better this past week or two. But if you can't really run the ball and that's how you're going to play, like, I get it. But yeah, I mean, people always give Rashee Rice a hard time every offseason. It's like, how good is this guy actually as, like, being a real NFL wide receiver? Who cares, man? He's catching 6, 7, 8 balls a game because of how they play, and they're scamming him stuff, and they're giving him little touch, tip passes at the line of scrimmage. It's awesome for PPR formats, which his game is built for DK. So yeah, he was awesome. CeeDee Lamb smashed, of course. Chris Olave, the man can't stop scoring touchdowns. I mean,
I love it.
They said in tournaments, Kyle, get off the board. They said, be unique. They said, find low roster players. And here I am every week just printing in cash. I mean, it's been an unbelievable month stretch, and every week putting up zeros in tournaments. So I'm sure a lot of people feel that. We talked about it a couple weeks ago. It's frustrating, to be honest, to be like, hey, this is the sound process. But also, these plays are so good that they're just bearing you if you don't have them, which I wrote it up in my small field article, but I knew that the chalk cash team, which is, I played these two, was going to be Breece Hall and Quinshad Judkins. And I said to myself, okay, I want one of those guys because they're good plays. I probably don't want both because I was playing Rashee Rice and CeeDee Lamb in my lineup. So I did not want Judkins, Breece Hall, CeeDee Lamb, and Rashee Rice.
Who did you choose?
I did not play Quinshad Judkins. It's so frustrating, man. I talked about this in the article and on the show, but I was just a slave to the projections with Breece Hall, right? I said he's going to project well. Who else is touching the football? But even though on the Tuesday show, I came in and I was like, dude, they're not scoring 21.5 points. It's over for the Jets. They have no rhythm, coaching, quarterback play. They don't have anything without Garrett Wilson. There's so much systemic risk here. And I'm so mad at myself because that was my true take. And yet I was like, well, in the optimizer, it looks pretty good. And so I do think there is still an edge in DFS. I know people kind of get frustrated when the chalk hits. Of just understanding, sometimes there are spots where you can, give your take. And sometimes your take is different than the market. And that's actually a good thing. And that's how you win these tournaments. And so I'm so frustrated with myself to play Breece Hall and not Quinshad Judkins in that scenario. Not even in hindsight, analysis. Just that was my take going into the slate. And I did it anyway. So frustrating week for sure. But yeah, man, this run of the cash teams just going bonkers is pretty absurd.
The way that I hedged emotionally, because remember, I was pretty harsh on Breece Hall on the podcast.
Yeah.
It was I'll play him in cash, and then I will fade him in tournaments. So I actually, and my biggest issue was the defenses also came through. All of the chalk defense, you played Carolina, if you played New England, if you played Cleveland, if you played Denver, it didn't work out so well.
Which I did.
I played Denver.
I did too. So I played them in my small field. I played Patriots defense in cash because Cam Ward.
I will say that my favorite part of the week was dissecting a couple of different tournament spots you get different. We loved Mahomes. We liked Daniels. Obviously, Daniels got hurt, but we said paying up for quarterback would be what matters, but finding some stacks in that middle range because you knew the field was not going to be paying for 5K quarterbacks like they had in the past. So I had a Bo Nix tournament team that I completely forgot about. And I wrote them up in the tournament takes and leverage article as saying, hey, one of my ways that I'm going to attack this week is by believing in the Broncos. For the first 3 quarters, it did not matter. And then all of a sudden, he storms back. So I had a tournament team bets that went from, in the late window, just completely buried. It was in the Flea Flicker, which is a $5 tournament, but it's it's a big boy. And it went from completely out of there to scoring over 200 points by the very end because of Bo Nix.
You stack them with Sutton?
Sutton and Franklin.
Okay, nice.
So it was nice to be able to get that and kind of make up some losses. But Judkins was our number one play. He smashed. He was really, really great. Tyler Warren still only does stuff in the first half. That's frustrating to me. But Trey McBride came through. Slate breaker. I was very happy about that.
Dude, Jacoby is money for Trey McBride. I think Kyler's going to be back after the bye week, which is not ideal. But yeah, it's so funny how that happens with some of these quarterbacks where they come in and they just do things that the regular quarterback should do or the starting quarterback should do, and they don't. But Trey McBride, what a call, man. He was awesome. And now, the regression, as we talked about all summer, it's here. So if you have him in season-long leagues or best ball, that feels incredible.
Do you know who Arizona plays after the bye?
I have no idea.
They play at Dallas.
Oh, baby. Come on. Just put them in your cash lineup now for 2 weeks.
It's just a little placeholder. All right, let's celebrate. Some really fun wins here. Get to celebrate with people in the Discord. I didn't get to hop in there as much. I'll share a little bit later, but man, I had a wild final baseball weekend, which was really, really fun. But from MB here, he says, I'll take it from the $5 flea flicker. Things could have gone a little bit better. Looks like you won $300. I could have had a lot of chilies, but great win there. Benzinji 18 said, I got 189th in the Millie Maker, one and only entry. Thanks for all the advice on the podcast, including Trey McBride as the slate breaker. And then this is a really crazy one. On Monday night, so the doubleheader, we have Chris Cash's article in the DFS Pass every single week. MB decided to come back after having a really good weekend and said, huge thank you to this awesome community and, of course, Betz, Chris Cash, and Borg for all the analysis, insights, and write-ups. My son is starting solid food soon, and I'm thinking his first real meal has to be some Chili's. How much did he win here, Betz?
That's a lot of zeros. A nice $50,000. MB, my man, you cannot just go to Chili's. You might be able to actually purchase a Chili's with this money. What a weekend.
A booth, just one booth.
The whole thing. You get the booth and you get it in your house as your new kitchen table. I mean, that's living right there. Congratulations, dude. This is awesome. I know that he, I think in this tournament, I forget which one it was, but he entered two darts in there. He said one was like dead last and the other one was, almost first place. So really, really fun weekend for you. Congratulations. Massive win. I love seeing these in Discord. Like, again, we obviously want to win ourselves, but we get so much pride and happiness when you guys all do well. So please share your thoughts with us and your winnings and stuff. We love to celebrate with you guys. Huge weekend.
Yep. DFSpass.com. You can use the promo code DFSPod. And yeah, I did want to celebrate too. We had a good week with the props.
Prop it like it's hot.
Things have been going pretty well. I know that things start off kind of slow, mid, but it was a good week 7. And then in just a second, we're also going to hit some more awards and win totals that you can get from this Tuesday show.
Dude, we got some plays coming up. Yeah, good week in props. We played 1 over this week. It was on Andre Yoshibas.
How did? Hey, that boosted our little over count. I like that.
But yeah, good week. We went, let's see, what was it? 8-3. So another solid week. Hopefully we can just keep stacking some wins here throughout the season and really, build that bankroll.
Yeah, it's been nice to figure out the process, to talk through it with bets, and then when we give our officials, we're not asking you to blindly just jump in on every single bet. There are some people who love that. It's like, oh, they see a prop coming, like, oh, Betz told me so, I'll do it. But we like to give you the rationale too in our props article as we add throughout the week. So our props and props alerts channel in the Discord, make sure you join those. Let's take a break, and then Betz and I will give you those awards and win totals.
No matter what you're building, you shouldn't have to worry about how fast you can cover your roof. Zip System Roof Assembly is an easy-to-install panel and tape system that helps quickly achieve rough dry-in, eliminating the need for felt. Whether you're adapting to schedules, codes, or weather, our products keep your roof all zipped up. Watch easy installation tips to protect roofs during and after construction at zipsystem.com.
Confronting high credit card debt can feel scary. But the good news is, if you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt, financial relief options are now available. National Debt Relief is currently offering debt relief designed to reduce what you owe, fast-tracking your way to being debt-free. If you qualify for debt relief, you may be able to pay back significantly less than what you owe and save thousands of dollars. Imagine only paying one low monthly program payment you can afford and saving money as you become debt-free. National Debt Relief has already helped bring debt relief to over 550,000 U.S. consumers, earning thousands of 5-star reviews and an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. You're stronger than your credit card debt. Take the first step and visit nationaldebtrelief.com to see what debt relief you qualify for. That's nationaldebtrelief.com.
Okay, so before we get to the Week 8 slate, we thought it would be timely to talk about a couple of different awards markets. So MVP, Offensive Rookie of the Year, Offensive Player of the Year, some other ones come back, and then give you an official play of what we think right now is inefficient in the market. So let's first start with MVP award. Obviously, we have so much Justin Herbert in our bag. Not looking as great right now, but we still love him. That's all that matters. So right now, Mahomes is the current betting favorite. We're looking at DraftKings Sportsbook right in front of us. Make sure you shop around. But Mahomes at plus 125, Josh Allen, who was coming off a bye, at plus 360, And then Baker, after that Monday night game they lost, dropped to 7-1. Drake May 8.5-1. And then a little further, it's Stafford, Goff, Danny Dimes, and Jordan Love. So as this stands right now, Mahomes is looking very strong because this award isn't how you started, it's how you finish. And right now, the Chiefs are on a roll. So any initial thoughts about MVP?
Yeah, just to reiterate for anybody that is not, familiar with betting awards markets, like there's certain ones that are tied to team performance. There's some that are not. MVP is directly tied to team performance. In other words, you need to win 12 plus games. You have to win your division. You need to be either the 1 or the 2 seed, and you also have to have the counting stats to go with it. So, I mean, it's always quarterback, but passing yardage, passing touchdowns, all those things have to be there. So even though Jonathan Taylor is having an unbelievable season, we're not really like value shopping down here. Like we're kind of looking at the top of the board and seeing if there's any ones that stick out. I do think Mahomes should be the favorite. I mean, with how well he's playing, with the Chiefs kind of like weathering the storm early on, now they get Rashee Rice back. They could go on a run here. I think he's the favorite. I don't know if there's a lot of value in this plus 125 number. I will say, if you are a believer in the Colts, I mean, Danny Dimes currently leads the NFL in EPA per dropback. My only hesitation with that, and you can get 25-1 on MGM for that, is that I feel like there's this like public narrative that even if they keep doing this, and let's say they win 14 games, like, don't you feel like the public sentiment is like, oh, that's how sweet of a moment is this for Daniel Jones? Like, good for him, and it's all like Shane Steichen credit. That's like how I feel the public thinks of this. I'm not saying that's how I think, but you also need to think about like who would the MVP voters vote for. So I'm interested in Daniel Jones just because of how good the Colts have been and how they're going to win the division. But other than that, I don't see a ton of value here on the board.
Yeah, it's really tough because like Drake May is definitely a name that stands out to us as what we would want to happen. And yet that's very different. Like right now they're leading the division, which is really, really cool in the AFC East. I think the narrative's at play where this is a young new face of the NFL. And yet can you see the Patriots get to 12 wins? I think that's going to be really tough for us to squeak out and say that that's where they're going to go. So as of right now, I don't love like what's going on right now in terms of like I need to bet any of these. Dak's interesting to me. If they just go on a tear, I think Dak's like a good value at plus 3,000. I'm interested there. Lamar, you could talk me into it coming off the bye. So that's really where I'm at. Any thoughts on Hurts way down there?
No, he won't win it. I would love him to. It's just he won't. I mean, if this team goes on and he does win that, I'm happy to be wrong. It's just like when you think about the team, granted, he has played well in moments. He also has played inconsistently. And like when you think about the credit of the Eagles, I think a lot of the public sentiment is still like, Hurts is fine, but he's not the reason they're going to win games, even though I think he's capable of that. You think about like the narrative of the defense and the whole team success and stuff like that. Like if the Chiefs are winning the division and if they're playing well, like it's Mahomes. If the Bills are doing it, it's Josh Allen. So you need to think about that in that context. As far as Lamar goes, 35-1 is an intriguing price if he is healthy, which as of this recording, like we're still not really sure. He didn't practice on their like bonus practice coming out of the bye week on Monday with the hamstring injury. But my reason for kind of being interested here is just looking at the schedule for the Ravens. It opens up beautifully here after the bye week. I'm just going to pull it up right now. And then on top of Lamar's health, you're also going to get positive health variance in terms of like left tackle Ronnie Stanley coming back. Roquan Smith should be back. Their secondary was like destroyed by injury before the bye. They should get a couple of those guys back. And coming out of the bye week, they get Chicago this week, the Dolphins, the Vikings, the Browns, the Jets, the Bengals, the Steelers, the Bengals again, the Patriots. Like that is like the next stretch until week 16. So I don't think it's crazy to think they go, one loss in that stretch or even go undefeated if Lamar is healthy. And if he does that and he just goes Superman mode, then you could talk yourself into this 35-1 price point. They do need to run the table here pretty much and Lamar stay healthy for this to win. But at that price point, I'm at least intrigued. How bad could it really be?
I'm looking at like where our long shots and what values we liked before the season and in MVP. Jordan Love, man, just hadn't turned it on.
No.
At all. Despite having a good record. So, like, records-wise, they're interesting. Performance-wise, like, he's nowhere close to some of the counting stats that we care about. So, let's go to Offensive Rookie of the Year. It's an interesting market because right now, things have swung where if you would have bet this over a month ago, Jackson Dart wasn't even on anyone's radar to say, I'm going to bet this guy. But right now, he's at plus 110. He's the favorite. Then our boy, Emeka Egbegbue.
Rookie sensation, wide receiver out of Ohio State, Emeka Egbegbue.
Plus 175. My boy, Tyler Warren. Am I allowed to say my boy or should it just be us?
You can take credit if you want, but
I don't want credit. We're buddies.
okay, I'd like to be friends with Tyler.
Okay, you want to be in our little group? Yeah, I mean, we got a good little text message going. I'll see if we can add you in. Plus 450, and then Judkins is a little bit further down at plus 1200. Before the season, it was Genty, Cam Ward, Travis Hunter. Not on the board right now as names that we're going to be betting or even talking about. Any read on this right now?
So I don't have a lot of preseason investment in this. I do have rookie wide receiver sensation Emeka Egbegbue at 50-1. Please God, one time. So I'm not going to add more onto that, though I do think if you didn't invest in that early, you're not really getting like a huge payoff here at plus 175. But when you think about Mike Evans, who's now unfortunately going to be out for the vast majority of the season, still unsure on Bucky's health, who knows what's going to happen with Chris Godwin? Like if the Bucs are going to win 10, 11, 12 games and Baker's going to keep playing the way he has, I know last night he didn't play great, but in general, he's been playing out of his mind. It has to go through Emeka Egbegbue. So I do think, I'm just going to call him that from now on. I do think he's interesting. Make sure you shop around, see if you can get a better price, but I wouldn't be surprised if in 3 weeks or something, he's the favorite. So I'm interested if you don't have a preseason ticket, but otherwise, I don't really want to bet the favorite here in Jackson Dart.
Jackson Dart was 35-1 when we did our awards show back in June, so that's interesting. Tyler Warren was 40-1 way back then, so his price is crazy. Shedeur Sanders was 20-1. He had better odds than Dart, Egbuka, all these other guys.
The books are just stealing from people, man. That is so sad. Real quick, I just looked. You can get Egbuka plus 250 on MGM. Best line I see.
Okay. All right, Offensive Player of the Year. This is a award that you need to understand is different than MVP. It's one of those that we look at and just say, who had the best statistical season that wasn't a quarterback? Because last year was Saquon, before that CMC, Justin Jefferson, Cooper Kupp, Derrick Henry, Michael Thomas, and then Mahomes won it back in 2018 when he threw 50 passing touchdowns. Right now, Jonathan Taylor is the odds-on favorite at even money. I mean, he's on pace for 24 rushing touchdowns. He's been awesome. JSN is at 4-1, and I think he hits the criteria of a lot of the outlier, can you get close to 2,000 receiving yards the way that, Jefferson and Kupp, all those guys did. And then below that is CMC and Bijan, which I think are very, very interesting if you assume they stay healthy, if you assume that, they end up being the top running back and Taylor falls off a little bit on his rushing total. But, yeah, any thoughts on this market?
Yeah, just for context on JSN, he's on pace for over 1,900 yards and 10 touchdowns right now. I mean, that's a pace that's tough to keep up with, but if he does that, I think he is certainly a bet here. Not that Jonathan Taylor isn't deserving, certainly Jonathan Taylor could win this award. It's just that when you look at kind of like running back health and that sort of thing, I'm usually hesitant to buy into the favorite in this market because sometimes when they're just having an outlier unreal season and sometimes regression happens, then you're not getting the best number on it. So that's my only hesitation there. As far as JT goes, I will say, obviously this week we're not going to have Puka because they're on bye. He's supposed to come back in 2 weeks out of the bye week. Just a week ago or 2 weeks ago, he was the odds-on favorite to win. And outside of the ankle injury, his systemic surroundings haven't changed. Stafford is still healthy, which was a concern early on. He's playing at an unreal level. So I think right now, if you don't have Puka from before the season, at 11-1, he's probably my favorite bet on the board when you're looking at the odds.
I still don't mind Bijan, 9.5-1.
Shocker.
I mean, he's on pace. Yeah, I know. He's on pace for 1,100 receiving yards.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I think those are the kind of eye-catching numbers to say, here's a running back that got, right now he's on pace for almost 1,500 receiving yards, 1,500 rushing yards, 1,100 receiving yards. those are the statistical things that I think stand out. It was a down week compared to CMC in overall production, but I think he's at least, I don't mind betting that. I won't because he's a Falcon and I don't need to do that. Any long shots?
I mean, just kind of looking at like sometimes voters will like give the MVP award to somebody and then like the consolation prize, air quotes, is Offensive Player of the Year. Like, I think a lot has to go right for this to happen, but Baker Mayfield is 75-1 and he's, top 5 in MVP odds currently. So that feels like a mismatch to me where like he's like the same odds as Derrick Henry. To me, that doesn't make a lot of sense considering what's happened in Baltimore. So I think Baker is interesting. I also think along the same narrative is like if Drake May is having this season that continues and he's not MVP caliber, like if JT gets hurt or JSN falls off or, whatever, like, 100-1. How bad could that really be? So I don't mind sprinkling on Baker and Drake May.
All right, let's talk about one more award, and it's Comeback Player of the Year. And we need to preface, if you haven't understood, this award has changed from what it was in the past. It used to be, hey, you sucked. And now you're kind of relevant. It's changed a lot. So like last year it was Burrow. Before that was Flacco, which, just came out of nowhere. Geno Smith, the corpse of Geno Smith. Remember when he used to play football?
I do recall that. That was fun.
Yeah, he won it a couple years ago. Burrow won it, and then Alex Smith was before that. So really, it's got to come down to what are you returning from? The actual language is players coming back from illness, physical injury, or other circumstances that led them to miss playing time the previous season. Not you were really bad, and then you're coming back. So that's why Daniel Jones is not the favorite of this award right now. It's Dak Prescott.
That's why you also, in my opinion, shouldn't even bother betting on Daniel Jones because he didn't get injured last year. He just, fell off as the starter and then went to Minnesota and kind of hung out on the bench, and now he's incredible. So, in my opinion, he's not even really, by their definition, he's not even eligible to win the award, if my understanding is correct, which was the same thing that happened with Sam Darnold last year. Like, books were stealing from people that were laying the Sam Darnold price because Sam Darnold technically didn't come back from injury. He just, came back from his career being kind of over, which is not the criteria for what they're laying out as the language of the award. So I would not bet Daniel Jones, personally.
So we need a name for that award.
Coming back from sucking?
Yeah. The resurrecting your NFL career from the dead.
Yeah. Well, if that was the award, Daniel Jones right now would be
Daniel Jones
minus 350. So I would not bet Daniel Jones personally. I do think Dak deserves to be favored. I think CMC is a fair second price. I'm not betting Trevor Lawrence or Godwin or Hunter Renfrow.
Trevor Lawrence should not be allowed at all. I know it was injury, but should not be allowed to be somebody you bet for.
No, don't bet on that. So honestly, I think this is fairly efficient.
Okay. We do have an official play that we want to give out right now. We're looking at some of the rest of season win totals, the divisional markets, and kind of just identifying, okay, here's the schedule the rest of the way. And right now, looking at all the divisions, there's a couple different interesting ones. I think the NFC West, it is interesting because the Seahawks technically are leading the division, and yet their odds, they're at plus 275, are kind of buried. I do think that San Francisco is going to get some players back. The Rams are tough. So that's not a slam dunk, but I just want to throw that out as that division is interesting. I think it'll flip-flop a bunch in the next couple of weeks. But the Chiefs to win the AFC West, they've been on a roll recently. They have Rice back. The offense is looking amazing. That's the one that I think right now is mispriced, and you can basically get the same price you got before the season.
Yeah, minus 120 is the best line I see for this on Caesars. It's just kind of looking at how Mahomes is playing and the coaching you're getting out of Andy Reid, and the defense kind of stumbled a little bit early, but they're coming on a bit as of late. Bo Nix for fantasy this past weekend was awesome. On the totality of the season, he has been pretty bad. He's 21st in EPA per dropback among all quarterbacks. So for the Broncos to continue to stack wins and win games, they're almost doing it in spite of Bo Nix, if that makes sense. Where defense is playing incredibly well, and that's kind of the standard. For the Chiefs, with Mahomes playing the way he's playing, that feels way more sustainable on a week-to-week basis, in my opinion, than the way the Broncos are playing. So I do like this price on the Chiefs. You can get minus 120. The way now that I'm talking through it, like if the Chiefs do win the division and it's Mahomes, do you feel like betting him for MVP makes more sense from a better payout standpoint?
From just plus 125?
Well, I see plus 150 on another book, but yeah.
I think it makes sense in that, like the logic that you're giving. There are routes where the Chiefs still win the division and, because the rest of the division just beats itself up. They beat the Broncos both times. And statistically, he's not there, or he's hurt, or something else. Like, I think the Chiefs are good enough to be able to withstand and Mahomes not be Mahomes. I guess I don't love plus 150. I'd rather just go for the division, but
so the official play, minus 120. Chiefs to win the AFC West.
Yes. And the other thing we've also been kicking around is like the Ravens. This isn't official, but the Ravens are definitely looked at as like they're dead in the water. They're just done. They've had a bad time. Lamar's been hurt, and the Steelers are the class of the division. Like that division is still very, very winnable for them, and their schedule the rest of the way picks up. So we'll talk this out more in Discord. I'd love to hear some more people kind of give their opinions about the Ravens rest of season schedule, but like just check out the different markets for the Ravens.
Yeah, and we took 2 weeks ago under 10.5, which looks great. Their win total right now is 8.5, so this will be like a natural hedge on that, is to say, hey, they win the division, because it's more just like the health variance was so bad early on. We talked about the schedule with Lamar. If they can come out and get healthy and win, rip off 4, 5, 6 wins over the next 2 months, and the Steelers continue to just like be the Steelers, which is like competitive, but have to have the right side of variance in games, and Mike Tomlin get out of the way kind of stuff. Like they seem, I don't want to say fraudulent, because like they do find ways to win games often, but considering the quarterbacks they have played, which is Justin Fields, Sam Darnold, okay, Drake May, 2 good quarterbacks, Carson Wentz, Dylan Gabriel, and Joe Flacco, and they're only at the record they are with barely a positive point differential. They just seem a little fraudulent to me, so I don't think they should be favored here in this market. That's my opinion. So I do think the Ravens are interesting. Again, if you already took under 10.5, it's an interesting hedge.
All right, let's move on. We'll talk some Week 8.
State of the main slate.
Hopefully that last part was helpful for you, just to get a look at where things are in the markets. We will do that again in probably a month and a half as we get closer to Thanksgiving. By the way, Thanksgiving slate, DFS. It's coming.
Best day of the year.
Yep. All right, so Week 8 is a 10-game slate, but the big headline is that we are in the bipocalypse. So in your home leagues, you are staring at like, man, who am I going to start this week at my wide receiver 3 spot? Those kind of conversations. This slate still is pretty power-packed considering the bye week that we have. There are 2 games that are hovering around that 50-point mark. Chicago at Baltimore is at 50.5, and then Denver and Dallas is at 49.5. So 2 games that we already can circle as being very interesting. And we have a lot of teams with healthy implied totals. I'm seeing right now 7 teams with 25 plus, and that gives us a lot of teams to work with when it comes to stacking. So give us the rundown of those teams.
Yeah, Colts right now 30.8 against the Titans.
Amazing.
Yes, please. The Ravens 28.5. That assumes Lamar Jackson is playing. Of course, that will change if we get different news. The Bills 26.5. Denver 26.3. The Bucks at 26, and then the Falcons. Kyle's Falcons 25.8 points, taking on what used to be the Dolphins.
Yep, the team formerly known as the Dolphins, and the only reason why the Falcons are favored, we're at home, man.
I mean, McDaniel, Tua, don't even get off the bus. Like, save yourself the embarrassment of trying to walk into that building and leave with the W. He might get fired after this game because of how well the Falcons are going to play.
You know, he was was he the run game coordinator or passing game coordinator for the Falcons?
You're asking the wrong guy.
He was on that staff with Kyle. He was on the staff with Kyle Shanahan when they lost the Super Bowl. Not a really big story. No one ever talks about it anymore.
Happen.
Yeah, so he was on that staff. But yeah, they're at home. Penix has been terrible on the road. The most popular game, I'm not even going to debate this, is going to be Denver and Dallas.
Yep.
It's going to be there. Dallas games have combined for 61 points on average, and they've gone over. Their games have gone over in 5 of the last 6. It's just the recipe for success here. And Denver, I think Denver will be popular because of the way they finished last week. Bo Nix had less than 4 fantasy points going into the fourth quarter. And then he said, I'm going to put up 40 plus points because, well, that's how fantasy works and not real life football. But Denver and Dallas is going to be it.
Yeah, I got nothing else to add. I mean, this is clearly one of the games of the week, just given the total and kind of given that Dallas just every week their games, are producing points. Dak's playing out of his mind. The defense can't stop anybody. So, I mean, Bo Nix, like I said, is not playing great real life NFL football, but this matchup is so good. And I think the game environment will be there. So we'll talk more on Friday, like how to stack it up in tournaments and how to get unique maybe in this game. But I think you're going to see a lot of CD again. Bo Nix will be popular for good reason. This makes a lot of sense.
I'm telling you right now, I mean, I'm going to be playing so much Marvin Mims. I am going to lose more money than I should. But, some people say that he is one of the greatest high school Texas stars of all time. Marvin Mims.
People say that?
Yeah, I'm going to show you right now. This is sad that I have this like in the back of my mind, my Rolodex in my head. But his high school stats, his senior as a receiver, just bonkers. 2 touchdowns, 3, 2, 1, 4, 2, 2, 3, 2, 3, 3, 2, 2. Just a baller, dude.
If he's so good, why is he only running half the routes?
Well, they didn't look at these stats yet.
Okay.
They need me to bring them
Makes
up.
Sense.
Anyway, game against the Cowboys, the narrative's there, buddy.
Oh, yeah, he's going home for this one. He probably played in Jerry World before in high school.
Yeah, but this game's in Denver,
right?
Oh,
is it? My bad.
Yeah. No. It's I thought the same thing. I just circled it and was like, oh, we're going to Dallas no matter what. Okay. There are some sneaky games, though. So that one's going to be the top. And then you have the Colts with a crazy implied total. If you wanted to onslaught stack the Colts, that one's going to be interesting. I have the Eagles and the Giants. Round 2 of the Eagles and the Giants. This one's in Philly. And I wrote that the Eagles are a passing offense, which means they're cool now. They're a cool team. They're top 5 in pass rate over expectation last month. And it gives you some pretty volatile outcomes, which is not something we've seen before with the Eagles. Usually like run the ball and the whole game hits the under and they just kind of slowly milk it away. The teams they have played, did you know that they've hit their implied team total in 6 of 7 games, their opponents? Their defense is like weird to figure out. I still don't really understand it. So I think this is a game that at least I have circled as a sneaky matchup.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I think if you're just kind of copying and pasting what happened last time these teams played, in that Thursday night game, you could be misled because of the Jalen Carter injury and the Quinyon Mitchell injury.
Right.
But still, we've seen Dart. I mean, Dart went into Denver and played outside of like the last, 5-10 minutes where he threw that egregious interception. Dart played really, really well in that spot. So you have a quarterback on one side who can extend plays with his legs and create downfield plays and all those sort of things. And then you have on the other side, like you said, the Eagles that are actually throwing the football, attempting forward passes in the year 2025. It makes a lot of sense, especially because in this matchup, we did see A.J. Brown. He didn't have a great game. I think he had like 8 targets, 5 or 6 catches, something like that, 80 yards. And Devonta Smith almost hit that huge play. Jalen Hurts just missed him. There are volatile outcomes here, like you said, where if those are hitting and the Eagles are pushed, which they have been recently, then this one could really, pop off. So I do like that call quite a bit. The one thing that I thought was interesting from this game, we've talked all season about how like Saquon just cannot get going. They lost Cam Jurgens to an injury here, which is a huge deal for like the tush push and, that whole thing. So I would not be surprised, again, if it's an inefficient outing running the football behind a backup center and, you see Jalen Hurts throw a little bit more. So I do like that call quite a bit. And Brian Burns was injured in the last game, so the pass rush might not be quite as fierce in this spot for the Giants.
He was not happy walking through the tunnel. I don't know if you saw that quote of when they had to drop 8 and Knicks kind of got to just run for that first down.
Yeah, I saw that. He was not thrilled.
Yeah, we talk a lot about coverage. I talk about like cover 3, cover 4 shells, whatever. Like, it's one thing to look at a matchup and say like, he's really good against this coverage. It's another thing to think about how a game actually plays out, play to play. And they're like, hey, let's just drop everybody as far as we can and let a very mobile quarterback do what he wants. So anyway, Giants are an intriguing team. Who thought that we would be here talking about the Giants as like a fun weekly party?
Yeah. Jackson Dart saved the season.
Yep. You have Buffalo at Carolina as kind of a sneaky matchup, which also early in the week is who I have penciled in for our survivor pick. Just kind of, penciled in. We're still alive. Chiefs, that was the easiest. It was incredibly easy.
Well, if you take a look at this, I tented my pants.
But Buffalo is coming off the bye.
We'll see if they get some pieces back injury-wise. But I do think when you look at the matchup, I think this matchup is like sneaky awesome for the way Carolina plays, which obviously, under Dave Canales, they want to run the football, play balanced, use play action, all those things. Buffalo cannot stop the run right now to save their life. And meanwhile, Carolina, number 2 in EPA per rush. They are number 1 in success rate offensively. They're also number 1 in success rate defensively, by the way. And then when you look at Buffalo on the defensive side of the ball, 25th in rush success rate, 29th in EPA per play. Then you get Josh Allen off a loss, off a bye. I could see the running backs on Carolina having some success here, moving the football, and then Buffalo, doing their thing on the offensive side. So I'm interested here. The stacking is going to be tricky, and we can talk about that maybe more on Friday. But stacking Josh Allen is always so difficult. And then right now with Carolina running that committee running back, those guys are tricky. But I do think this spot is kind of sneaky. I could see both teams having success here.
All right, which game do you want to be underweight on this week? I put San Francisco and Houston. I'm going to ask the question now, and we'll talk about it later. Is CMC finally too expensive for us after an epic game? He's $9K on DraftKings. I don't think so. But this matchup, in general, it profiles as kind of a slugfest. Like, Houston's been incredible against the run. We know that they have a good pass rush. It just doesn't seem like a back-and-forth affair based on how these teams want to play.
Yeah, and probably no Nico Collins in concussion protocol, right, too, which, CJ Stroud's throwing to rookies and Xavier Hutchinson and
Jalen Noel.
I'm going to use him for the Dynasty breakdown this week.
Nice.
But it's just so tough to generate a ceiling when that's the skill group behind that offensive line. So, yes, I agree with you on that one. I'm going to be underweight, I think, on Atlanta, Miami, and it's not because I don't think the Falcons can put up points here. It's like last week with the Jets. Like, the Dolphins just, there's nothing to say, man. It's over this year. Mike McDaniel's clearly not the future. I'm not even sure Tua is the future. Like, you think about kind of how he's played, and I don't even know if I want to see Tua out of a Mike McDaniel offense. Like, he generated negative 27.5 EPA, which is just outlandish in that game against Cleveland. So, yeah, I don't know how much motivation there is. And then you think about Atlanta, like, they're super content, right, when they have a lead to just feed Bijan and Algier, and I think they're going to be able to do that in this spot because, well, the Miami rush defense is non-existent.
I'm going to find the stat because last week, before the game against Quinshon Judkins, they had given up the 5th most rushing yards per game over the last decade. And I think they're still up there as one of the worst. So I'm there with you. The team I'm most confident hitting the over of their implied total, I'm just going to keep rolling with Dallas, man. It's 23.3. The Broncos defense, I was a little frustrated by the outcome, especially at the end. I missed the cash line in one of my double ups bets by 1 point. How did that happen? Because that last play from Jackson Dart, that last touchdown.
Gotcha.
That should have been picked, twice? Yeah. Anyway, but Dak under pressure has been really, really good in 2025. He is number 1 among all quarterbacks in catchable target rate, number 2 in passing yards per game under pressure, and number 4 in completion percentage. And a lot of those stats under pressure are without CeeDee Lamb. So I really like the Cowboys. I think that even on the road, that they're an offense I want to buy into.
Yeah, it makes sense. Just kind of play it until they stop hitting it is what I would do. I'm going to go with the Packers. This is the Sunday Night Football game. They are taking on the Steelers. We're looking for 24 points in this spot. As I mentioned, the Steelers defense has faced Justin Fields, Sam Darnold, Drake May, Carson Wentz, Dylan Gabriel, and Joe Flacco, and they're 18th in yards per play allowed. They're just old and slow and not really that good, if we're being honest. And Mike Tomlin, I've had maybe my thoughts clear on this podcast before. Did you watch the halftime interview on Thursday night coming out of when they started halftime?
I did not.
They asked him what they need to change in the second half, and he said, we need to, make them get behind the sticks. We got to stop the run. The Bengals have not had a rushing attack the entire season, and his plan was let's load the box and let Jamar Chase and, T. Higgins and Joe Flacco go crazy. So just inept defensively, in my opinion, in that game. Now you get a very well-run Packers offense with Matt LaFleur in this spot. They are 22nd EPA per rush. They're getting killed by tight ends, and you think about the way the Packers play, let's feed Josh Jacobs and hit play action. to Tucker Kraft. I think the offense can roll here, so give me the over 24 points.
I'm going to say that I am confident that Miami is not an offense, as you mentioned earlier, that I want to buy into. Their team implied total is at 18.8. Falcons games this year have hit the under in 5 of 6. And then at home, their defense has been really, really good this year. So I just, it's really hard to be bullish on Miami. Can you use them in stacking purposes? Yeah, as Achane one-off if you think the Atlanta offense really goes for it. But I think the overall game script just lends towards an under, and it was bet down from earlier on Monday.
Makes a lot of sense. I'm with you. I will take Washington under 19.5 on the road against KC. I don't think Jaden Daniels is playing in this spot, so you potentially have Marcus Mariota. We're still not sure on Terry. Debo clearly isn't healthy. It's really hard to generate a ceiling when you have a backup quarterback and Chris Moore and Luke McCaffrey out there. So I will take under on 19.5 on the road. Tough spot to play against the Chiefs.
All right, let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
No matter what you're building, you shouldn't have to worry about how fast you can cover your roof. Zip System Roof Assembly is an easy-to-install panel and tape system that helps quickly achieve rough dry-in, eliminating the need for felt. Whether you're adapting to schedules, codes, or weather, our products keep your roof all zipped up. Watch easy installation tips to protect roofs during and after construction at zipsystem.com.
If you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt, medical bills, or personal loans, help is here. More and more Americans turn to credit cards to get by. National Debt Relief is helping qualified clients reduce what they owe. For many, continuing to struggle making minimum monthly payments could take years to pay off. National Debt Relief has already helped over 550,000 Americans reduce their debt by negotiating directly with their creditors. When you call, you'll be amazed at how much you can save and how quickly you can become debt-free. If you want off the debt treadmill, visit nationaldebtrelief.com today. You don't need to declare bankruptcy, and you may qualify for significant debt relief. To find out what savings you may qualify for, simply visit nationaldebtrelief.com. That's nationaldebtrelief.com.
All right, we're about to finish out the show with salary standouts, but I gotta give a proud dad moment. Gotta bring it up, man. Baseball season is a grind, and I brought it up before on the podcast, and then you even asked me the question yesterday. Do you guys play baseball every single day? Like it's felt like our schedule, and I did the math. Truman, my youngest, okay, he's 6 years old, has played baseball, a baseball game, in 6 out of the last 8 days.
Oh my gosh. What is this, the Major League?
They decided that they would have a double elimination tournament in the fall, which is just insane to me for their age. And so my older son is actually still going on in his tournament. But Truman's team, anyway, they had, I don't want to undersell this, they had a 3-hour game, which is just wild for that age, like 5 and 6 year old T-ball. And by T-ball, each team has 2 or 3 kids that are just balling out. And I'm talking hit it to the fence every single time. If you hit it to them, you will get out. And the rest of the team is we're trying to figure out, baseball.
They're just there for the vibes.
Yeah. And it's, it's fun. But they went to extra innings twice, which they say that extra innings never happens. The fact that we were tied and going into the 5th inning, the director of the league said, we've never had a game go this long. In the last inning, there's no run limit. You can just keep going as long as you can. Truman's team put up 10 runs in the final inning. Woof. And just I know, they were just, the bats were alive. And then Truman made the final out. He's a lefty. Made the final out. He dove at the pitcher's mound, okay? Dove for the ball, had to spin around as a lefty, threw somebody out at first, and then the coach comes and picks him up on his shoulders. And Truman just starts bawling. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the happiest moment of his life. He goes, Dad, I'm hurting so bad. I hurt my leg diving for that ball.
Oh my gosh.
But they won 28-23.
Sounds like a Falcons game.
It does sound like a Falcons game. Anyway, I went to bed last night just that was a core memory for my kid. And Betz gets to live through it because I'm like, dude, we got another baseball game today. He's like, how is this still happening?
I honestly feel like your kid's playing 162 games. like Major League Baseball status over here. Every day I text you, you're like, yep, at the park. So, dude, that's awesome, man. Congratulations to Truman, True Daddy. What a
Daddy.
win. What a moment. What a guy.
Dude, as a lefty, man, it's, I was looking at some Clayton Kershaw highlights the other day. We were watching
playing
the
pitcher?
film.
Okay,
Yeah.
nice.
He's we have a little cheat code on that team. Truman is like a cheat code pitcher, and then we have a first baseman that's just like rock solid. So that's kind of like the only way that you can get outs in this league. And like we just have to like keep relying on it over and over and over again.
Love it.
Anyway, salary standouts.
Salary standouts.
I cannot wait for you to be a stressed out dad.
Dude, I hope my girls play. Well, they're not going to have a choice. They're playing sports. But I hope they're into sports because I don't think I can be a dance dad, man. And they love to dance and sing.
Now, tell me about this dance dad thing.
I don't know much about it, but I don't know if I can do it. I don't know if I can do it.
Like
my niece,
I don't think it's...
My niece does dance, dude, and she's literally like practicing like 3 hours a night, like 4 days a week, and then, traveling a bunch on the weekends. It just seems like kids' sports nowadays are just like insane.
Oh, dude, they're wild. All right, so we're going to go through a couple of salary standouts for this week. At quarterback, Josh Allen's expensive. He's at $7,500. Lamar Jackson, if he is back, is an interesting little play here at $6,800. Jalen Hurts at $6,600. Dak at $6,500. So those are kind of the top pricing for the week. Drake May just kind of slowly sneaking in there. Does play Cleveland this week. But any initial takes on quarterback this week?
I think Hurts is super strong. Like you said, this game is kind of sneaky. 6.6 against the Giants. On DK, I will throw out, we're not sure what's going on with Garrett Wilson. And quite frankly, we're not sure what's going on yet with Justin Fields, but he's $5K. Again, there's so much risk with the Jets, but in a tournament, you could talk me into that if Garrett Wilson is healthy. And then we're still monitoring what's going on with Michael Penix, who left with kind of like late in the game, got stepped on, and apparently now they're calling it a bone bruise in his foot. So I do think early in the week, Kirk Cousins, we'll see. He's 40.
The chin strap's already on.
He sleeps with his helmet on. He's 4,400 taking on the hapless Dolphins. So just wanted to throw that out there early in the week.
Dude, there's a bunch of interesting quarterbacks in that range. Like Tyrod has been really, really, really good.
Yeah, you guys might know by the time this show comes out who's starting for the Jets. We still don't know.
Yeah, he's 4,500. Andy Dalton, 4,500. Just interesting names this week. So I don't have an opinions yet. We'll wait. All of these guys in this range, I think you at least have to talk about in cash. Where before we're like, who really knows? So just circle some of the cheaper names. At running back this week, it's going to be really hard to get away from Bijan because we talked about the Dolphins, how bad they've been. Jonathan Taylor is the highest priced guy, so he went up another $700. He's at $9,500. CMC is $9,000, and then we have Bijan at home with a near 26-point implied total at $8,800. He's going to project super well.
Yeah, dude, this spot is so clean for Bijan. You're going to play him. Let's be honest. I will say, Derrick Henry I'm not making any takes here, but just the price stuck out to me of like, holy crap, Derrick Henry is $6K. He's basically the same price as DeAndre Swift, which if you told us that in August, we'd say you're crazy, but that's where we're at, taking on the Bears in that same game. He's also $8K over on FanDuel, which kind of for how he scores, I think fits better. I would certainly want Lamar healthy for that to be a play, but that does make a lot of sense. And then with the unfortunate Kendry Miller injury done for the year, when he went out last week, it was like all Kamara in that game. I'm not sure how efficient it's going to be against the Bucs, but when you think about the pass catching role for Kamara at 5,700, I think that makes a lot of sense too. So early names that I'm just kind of circling of like, hey, that looks interesting this week. Those are the guys.
Dude, Henry is super interesting to me. What if I told you the Bears are giving up the highest yards before contact per attempt in the league?
I would believe it.
Ah, man. That's and it's like, I still don't believe that total though. I know it's assuming as if Lamar's playing, but 50.5 feels very, very steep.
Has the line moved at all?
He's basically saying
he didn't practice on Monday.
That's what I'm seeing. It's been sitting around this total, and I was like shocked that this game has held steady. I mean, right now I'd be taking the under.
The market certainly thinks Lamar's going to play because I'm looking at it right now. They are 6.5 point home favorites, and the total is 50.5.
Coming off the bye.
Right. So the market thinks Lamar's going to play. It could change, but as things stand, if that holds, and you think about Derrick Henry as a home favorite of a touchdown, I mean, $6K for Derrick Henry. We used to pay $8K.
Dude, we kind of need to include them in our survivor conversation.
Okay. I mean, only if Lamar is playing, that would be a consideration.
Yes, of course.
All right. Yeah, we'll keep it in the pool.
Yeah, it's super, super interesting. There's some cheaper guys that I think you could make a case for if you really wanted to, like in the 5K range. Kamara, if he's the only dude you said. Ramondre's way down there too. He's interesting. I'm trying to figure out where's the value. And right now, I don't know that on this slate. So wait until later on the week if we get any value at the running back position. Let's go to wide receiver. They did start to price up Chris Olave. I need to just say that off the start. Last week, we had the conversation on the podcast. You asked me what would be the price where I'm like, I said 6,500. He is only 5,800 this week, people.
And he is 6,600 on FanDuel, so he will once again be in the cash article on the site. Just giving you a little warning there. And he will be in the cash conversation on Friday, so rinse and repeat.
I love it. I love that there are players like this, and I love that Jacoby Myers is now no longer a part of that conversation.
Do you think he gets traded?
Well, dude doesn't want to work.
I mean, would you for that team?
Yeah. Jack Besh, if in my route participation league, he is killing it.
The Raiders ran like 30 plays this past week. That's how bad the performance was.
I wanted to give you some cheap names. Okay, so Marvin Mims, I talked about him as like a fun tournament play. He's 3,900. Xavier Legette, 4K. I kind of like Andy Dalton there. And, dude, you know that he saw 9 first read targets for the team?
I did. I was very surprised.
Yeah, he's just a cheaper name, like, because I'm obviously not playing a lot of the other names in the 4K range. Jerry Jeudy, does he still play in the NFL? I'm not sure. And it's hard to find really, really cheap names early in the week. We do need to monitor Nico Collins if he doesn't play. There are a couple of interesting Texans that are in the 3K range that I think you could punt with. But yeah, I mean, there's some value this week that I think you can go in that direction. A.J. Brown, 6,100. I'm liking that a lot. I like the fact that Eagles are passing more. He's really interesting. Going up the ladder, I mean, CeeDee's going to be in play even against the matchup. I don't really care. Jamar is the highest priced wide receiver, 8,100. So I think there's going to be a mix and match of here's 2 5K receivers like Olave and somebody else. Potential to punt the position if Nico's out or somebody else in the 3K range. And then the question is, can you pay up for Bijan and CMC, one of those two, and get a stud wide receiver? I think that's going to be tough this week.
You probably have to punt it off and play one of these like gross quarterbacks to do it, but we'll see. Maybe. I also like in that 5K range, Zay Flowers. If Lamar is back, decent matchup. We haven't had a lot of great games from Lamar or from Zay Flowers recently, but if you recall, the first couple weeks he was playing very, very well. It's only 5,400, so I think the take home from this show for me is like nice buy low spots here on the Ravens.
At tight end, Turd Ferguson. Jake Ferguson is now 6K. What a guy.
Who would have thought? The touchdown variance for him also hitting massively.
Yeah, he just needed an entire season where he didn't catch a touchdown, and then
him and Trey McBride, man.
It works out really, really. Tyler Warren, still doing his thing, 5,500. But after those two, there's kind of a drop-off in tight end pricing and the way that it's set up this week. I mean, Harold Fannon's going to continue to profile well. We got to monitor Njoku if he's going to be in there or not. Hunter Henry at 3,800. Cade Otton showed out on Monday night. Very, very proud of our boy. But you have Colston Loveland on here at 3K, and part of that is trying to figure out Kmet's situation.
Yeah, this would only be if Kmet is out, but he is, like you said, 3K, and we think they're going to have to throw here in this matchup against the Ravens as 6.5 point underdogs. Last week when Kmet left early, Loveland had a season high 65% of the routes. So it would only be if Kmet is out, but we're just going to monitor that news throughout the week.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have any early leans at tight end. Last week we talked about like, hey, you got to pay up for the position. McBride, Warren, Those are all plays that we really like. Ferguson kind of snuck through. At defense this week, we still have a bunch of question marks. Like, who are these defenses playing against? So that's kind of the conversation we're trying to figure out.
Yeah, for sure. Like, if for some reason Lamar doesn't play, then the whole conversation on the Ravens changes. And then I think you could play the Bears. Just they're 2,600. They're pretty cheap. I do think Buffalo is interesting off the bye against Andy Dalton. It's kind of tough. I also think you could talk me into like the Eagles at 3,200 against Jackson Dart for the second time. But it's not a clean defensive slate because the best plays are so expensive that it's kind of one of those that we'll have to wait and see who's playing quarterback this week. But I imagine our strategy is going to be we'll just pick on the backup quarterbacks.
Yeah, I'm not going to give any early. I think I'm a little burned by defense from this past week. I played a lot of Cleveland in tournaments, which is great. Like I played a lot of just Judkins and Cleveland together. And yet, when you have Carolina put up, 15 points, New England with 19, defensive they've kind of gone off.
Yeah, they have. It's kind of been wild. I do think on FanDuel, early in the week, the Falcons look great at 4,100.
Ooh, a sentence we have not heard on this podcast, maybe ever. That early in the week, I really like the Falcons defense. I think they're a good unit. So that's going to do it for this episode. Betz, sign us off.
Dude, what a jam-packed show. We somehow snuck this in right around an hour, so go us. But everybody enjoy the week. Hopefully you all are riding high after a good week in week 7. We're on to week 8. We'll catch you on Friday to break it all down. We'll see you then.
Thank you for listening to another edition of the Fantasy Footballers DFS and Betting Podcast. Don't forget to visit us on the web at thefantasyfootballers.com.
No matter what you're building, you shouldn't have to worry about how fast you can cover your roof. Zip System Roof Assembly is an easy-to-install panel and tape system that helps quickly achieve rough dry-in, eliminating the need for felt. Whether you're adapting to schedules, codes, or weather, our products keep your roof all zipped up. Watch easy installation tips to protect roofs during and after construction at zipsystem.com.